गुड मॉर्निंग दोस्तों, मेरा नाम सुरेंद्र कुमार है और मैं अजय कुमार इंजीनियरिंग कॉलेज में कंप्यूटर साइंस डिपार्टमेंट में असिस्टेंट प्रोफेसर हूँ। सो आज हम स्टार्ट करते हैं ऑब्जेक्ट ओरिएंटेड प्रोग्रामिंग विद जावा, दैट इज़ फोर्थ सेमेस्टर सब्जेक्ट फॉर कंप्यूटर साइंस स्टूडेंट. The subject is basically an add-on on programming language because in real world scenario we work on our real world problems. So the real world problem can be solved with the help of a language which is based on real world entities. If we talk about previous languages, जैसे कि हम बात कर सकते हैं सी की, तो सी एक बेसिकली प्रोसीजर ओरिएंटेड लैंग्वेज है विच इज़ फंक्शनल लैंग्वेज विच वर्क्स और बेस्ड ऑन फंक्शंस. बट when we comes to the broad area of computer science, the functions is not sufficient on basis for our programming language. So we have started object oriented programming language. So how object oriented programming language support real world programming or real world problem solving, that we will discuss here in this lecture. So as our topic is object oriented design, and the concept used in this design we called object oriented programming concept. So we talk about the overview of this lecture. We will discuss about object and classes. What are the objects and what are the classes? Again we will understand some of the key concept or feature in the object oriented program paradigm, and we will discuss some benefits of object oriented design paradigm. So let us start with the object oriented programming concept. So this concept basically works on these some key terms: model, map, reuse and extend. So क्या मतलब है मॉडल का? मॉडल बेसिकली द रियल वर्ल्ड प्रॉब्लम to user perceives. So what kind of real world problem user perceives? For example, if you want to store some information about some courses in your class, so you have to create a model with the users perceive. Next, use similar metaphors in computational environment. उन्हीं को आप कुछ ऐसे सिमिलर मेटाफर्स का इस्तेमाल करेंगे जो हमें उस कंप्यूटेशनल में हेल्प करेंगे. देन कंस्ट्रक्ट रीयूजेबल कंपोनेंट. कुछ हम ऐसे कंपोनेंट डिज़ाइन करेंगे जिनको हम अगेन एंड अगेन यूज़ कर पाएंगे. और क्रिएट some new components from existing one, or we can extend it with existing component to create new component. So देखेंगे आप यहाँ पर different objects दिखाए गए हैं, and objects are related to each other, and every object contains data and functions. So this is the model of the problem solving using object oriented programming. Everything is bundled into a object. An object is, as already discussed, is contained data and different functions, right? So in this way different objects will communicate with each other with these kinds of entities. Now if we talk about the OOPS is a real world metaphor and applies them in a computational environment, that means it's making the design more intuitive, modular and reusable. How? Using similar metaphor it refers to the idea of modeling software objects and their interaction in a way that mirrors real world entities and relationships. So, how the metaphor uses it basically refers or mirror the real world entity. एग्जैक्टली वैसा ही एक एनवायरनमेंट क्रिएट किया जाता है जो हम रियल वर्ल्ड एंटिटी से इंटरेक्ट करते हैं, उसी फॉर्म में यहाँ पर आप कुछ एंटिटीज क्रिएट करेंगे जो कि रियल वर्ल्ड रिलेशनशिप को शो करेगी. राइट नाउ अगेन in real world metaphor, OOPS is designed to resemble how objects interact in the real world. The messaging or interaction of the objects. For example, if a car is an object, can have properties like color, it may have speed, and it may have different kinds of behaviors like accelerate the car or brake the car. So, this metaphor makes it easier to design, understand and maintain this software. Right. So, we are using real world into the metaphors like color, speeds, behaves, accelerate, brake. We talk about the computational environment. So, in the programming world, these real world concepts are translated into classes and objects. And the computational environment follows the same metaphor like encapsulation, inheritance, and polymorphisms. Right. So, these are the concepts we will discuss further in detail. Still, if you talk about the encapsulation, so like real world capsule, the objects bundle data and behavior together. If we talk about the inheritance, it is like real world traits passed from parent to children. Subclasses inherit the property of from parent classes. Right. If we talk about the polymorphism, so similar how a single word can have multiple meaning, like method can have different implementation in different context. Right. This is polymorphism. Next, we further principle of reusability component. So, the principles of reusability components basically consist of encapsulation, inheritance, polymorphism and composition. So, in this way you can reuse the component. So, encapsulation keep internal details hidden, expose only necessary functionality. Inheritance create base classes, extend from them and reuse them. Again, polymorphisms use method overriding and interfaces for flexible behavior. Composition means combine smaller reusable components instead of creating large monolithic classes. So, composition of different small classes. So, in this way we can use reusable principle in our object oriented programming. There are some example of reusable like you use button component in Java. So, imagine you are developing an UI framework where you need a button component. So, कैसे आप इसको use करेंगे? So, button class can be used for any type of button. You can use number of buttons in your program now. Again, image button extends from button. This is reusable behavior while adding new feature in the image button. Right. So, in this way you can use reusability and extend them. Reusable logger component जैसे in Python, allowing component that can be used across different applications, like the loggers class is independent and can be used in any application. The logging label means information, error and debug. Make it flexible. Using design pattern for usability, we use factory patterns encapsulate object creations for flexibility. Singleton pattern ensure a single instance of a component, for example, database connection, or adapter patterns like allow integration of incompatible component. So, as in the shape factory allow creating any shape dynamically, making it more reusable. Here are some examples of objects. So you can see around yourself what may be different kinds of object around you. So like you see cars, you see boys, you see girl, clock, video, blog books, trees, triangle, whatever thing you interact or see around you, all are the examples of objects. You are at your home, you can see the home is an object. You can see the parents may be one kind of object. You can see your friend maybe work as an object. Your bag maybe work as an object which contains some books and notebooks. Your computer can be work as an object. So whatever around you is considered as an object. Here are again some example of objects: pencil, apple, book, bag, board. So whatever you can see and imagine are an object. Classes, if you talk about the classes, that means object with the same attribute and behavior. Objects with the same attributes and behavior are called classes. So if we talk a person object, so person, they may be boy or girl. Abstract into person class, like they may have attributes like name, age and sex. Operations like they can speak, they can listen, they can walk. These are the behavior or operation of the above person class, right? Or we can have a different example of class like vehicle object class. It is a vehicle class and it is abstract into attributes like name, model and color of the car or vehicle. An operation of the vehicle or the behavior of the vehicle can be categorized into start the vehicle, stop the vehicle, accelerate the vehicle and many more functionality of the vehicle. Same, if we talk about some shapes like polygon object, you can abstract it into a class like polygon class, and the polygon class may have some attributes like vertices, borders, colors, fill colors, and they may have some operations draw, erase, move. So in this way you can define a class on some object which contains attributes and operations. I hope you understand the concept of class. So now we can define a class. Class is a group of objects. Class is a group of objects that have common properties, and it is template or blueprint from which the object are created. In short, you can say a class is the specification or template of an object, right? Or you can read more about class in Java examples as we have discussed earlier. Real world example like circle, that can example of a class analyze different diagrams, right? this example declares the class circle and its member variables are x and y and radius, and that may be type of integer or float, and the two method members are areas and fill color. So you can find out the area of the circle and you can fill some colors of the circle with the help of these two methods. So how a class is look like into object oriented programming. So the diagram of the circle class shows a template of creating three objects. First, the class name is circle, data fields is radius, and methods are area, perimeters and radius. We have created three objects from this class: object 1, object 2, object 3. We put the data field with radius 1, radius 25, radius 125. In this way, these three objects can contain different area of the circle, perimeter of the circle and different radius of the circle. So, in this way, a single class can create more than one object with different properties and different values of their attributes and functionality. So, these objects are of the circle class. Now, we come to the features of object oriented paradigm. What are the different features of this paradigms? We will discuss here in a short way, then we will define in one by one elaborated form. Object oriented paradigm. It consists of these number of features or properties. The first one is encapsulation, data abstraction, single inheritance, polymorphism. Why we are using single inheritance? Because we are referring it with the Java programming. Polymorphism, persistence, delegation, genericity, multiple inheritance, but not in Java, right? So these are the features of object oriented paradigms. If we talk about Java's OOPS features, so these features like encapsulation consist in Java, abstraction, single inheritance, polymorphism, persistence, delegation, genericity. These all features are comes in Java, but multiple inheritance doesn't support in Java. For this, we have different features like interfaces by which we can use this feature in Java. Now, we discuss one concept named encapsulation. So, encapsulation is basically associate the code and data. It manipulates into a single unit. This is called encapsulation. Or you can see the real world capsule which contains different combinations of medicines. In the same way, we have methods and variables in a single unit. This is called encapsulation. Or you can say data can work on different functions. This is also an encapsulation. So this is a complete class, and the attributes and or functionality of the class is a form of encapsulation. Let's keep them safe from external interference and misuse, because outside world is cannot interact directly with this class now or the methods now. So this is a safety feature of the object oriented programming also. Here, data abstraction is basically a technique of creating new data types that are well suited to an application. Like, it allows the creation of user defined data types having properties of built data types and set of permitted operators. In Java, partial supports for data abstraction, and C++ fully support like operator overloading. Here you can see the abstraction example, real world example of ATM card. You have ATM card on a machine. That ATM card is completely abstracted format of your account, which contains all the information in your card, or this is a bank abstraction of ATM. Abstract data type talk about the structure that contains both data and actions to be performed on that data. So class is an implementation of abstract data type, right? Class is an implementation of abstract data type. So here we will have an example of class account, which contains attributes account name and account balance having different data types. String and double contains some methods for withdrawal, deposit, and determine balance. So this is an account class. In this way, you can define your account class with the help of abstraction. So here the class account is an abstraction of these data and methods. That means it is hidden from outside world, hidden from outside world, right? So this is abstract data type. Now again, there are some more example of the class that may have set of attributes in operation. So account already we have discussed. There may be a class named student, which contains attributes name, age, student ID, and having some methods like get name and get ID. There may be a class like circle that may contain some center and radius, and area and circumference are the method of the class circle. So in this way you can create a class, and that is abstract data type for your real world situation or problem. Object, basically object is a collection of interacting object. Object oriented programming system is a collection of interacting objects. So object is an instance of a class. As in previous example, we have created 3 objects of a circle class. So the 3 objects are object 1, object 2, object 3 are instances of the circle class, right, which contains all the features of the given class, that is instance of the class. So how class and objects works, like student is John in our object, Jill in our object of the student class. Same, circle A, circle B is an object of the circle class, right? So a class represents a template for several objects that have common properties. Now you can define with this background what is a class. So class represents a template for several objects that have common properties. Or you can say class defines all the properties common to the objects, that is attributes and methods. So a class sometimes called an object's type, right? How we can define an object? Object have state and class don't have. There is a difference between object and class. Object have state because it's an instant of the class. John is an object, that is an instance of the class student. It may have state like John name, age and student ID. Same Jill. Circle A have its center parameters and radius 25. Circle B have center parameters and its radius is 10. So these are the states of the objects, right? And class have its instance, that is objects. So I hope you have understand the concept of object-oriented programming with what are the classes and what are the object in a real world scenario. Thank you very much. We will come to the next lecture for further detail. Thank you so much.